Hello and welcome back. I hope that since the last time we were together, you really are taking good care of yourself. And if you're taking care of a widow, that you're allowing her time to have her emotions, to grieve, to go through all of the process of happy, sad, mad, and that you're supporting her. This is lesson 3, and we're going through the reaching out for help. Who can we reach out to help for if we don't necessarily have someone we love and trust? But it can also be an additional group of people, knowledgeable people who can help you through this process. If you're really struggling, please do reach out immediately to a counselor. But let me tell you about some of the support groups that I know about. And if you research it, you might be able to find some even more. So when you're going through all of your feelings, one of the things that I learned along the way is that your grief, your feelings, the things that you need to do to heal is like a fingerprint. It's like your specific fingerprint. It is your own. So when people are telling you, you should do this or you should do that, like you should be dating by now. Some people the next day might say to you, you shouldn't be dating yet, or you should be selling your house, etc. There are lots of opinions out there, and they sound like they're very good, and they will almost say it with conviction. You'll also have that feeling from yourself, well, I could be doing this, or I wish I would have done that. No, don't second guess yourself. Again, think about your unique fingerprint. It is just you and how you take care of yourself through this grieving process. In the widow groups, there are many of them, and I will tell you about a few that I've researched and found here on the next slide. But there are psychologists who can really help through the deep depression or anxiety. Some of them you may need some kind of a pill or a prescription that can help you level off those really deep feelings. But if you're not someone who's having huge emotional roller coaster rides, then perhaps you don't need a psychologist and you can get some support from, say, a local church or some meetup groups. You can find these meetup groups online. You have a smart tablet or phone or computer. Just search for widow grief groups, etc. on meetup.com. Now, some people have tried to utilize something like the Boys and Girls Club to have them have meaning in life. And just know that some of those clubs, not necessarily the Boys and Girls, you'll need to check yourself in your local area, but some of them aren't really available to widows and widowers in their first year because one can glob onto a child and in an unhealthy way create a relationship that's not good. But do volunteer. I've watched some people, not just widows, but widowers and divorcees, start to get better over time more quickly because they're helping other people who have big problems too. And helping others with bigger problems does have your own problems seem a little bit smaller. Just don't take on too much. So as I said, there's some online groups. So if you're not wanting to go to a live group, you could do something online and even type, if you like to do that, about your emotions or support someone else by typing. But one of the things you could do is look up on Facebook. If you're not a member already, it's fairly easy to get on. But there's a life after death support group. Here's an example of one of the URLs, but all you have to do is just search for it on that kind of group. And then there's also additional online groups. So if you have a way to search for these, I would suggest looking for Modern Widows Club. And it's really great to have support from people who are going through the same stages as you, if you're in the first year or the second year or the third year. I was really glad that I was able to go to a widow group 5 to 10 years afterwards. I had remarried. I'm having a wonderful, fabulous life. And when I very first went to a widow group, I didn't have somebody who had already gone through it. So it does make a difference to be with people who are going through what you're going through so you can support each other and acknowledge that this is like a normal thing that you're feeling. But also, if you can be with somebody who's gone through it and they're on the other side, it doesn't feel like you'll ever feel happy again, but there's probably a time that you really will. So then you can also look at the Sisterhood of Widows, Soaring Spirits, Connections. There's a Reddit. If you haven't looked that up, it's REDDIT, Grief Support Group. And widowers, there's mini group for widowers as well. So if you know someone who is a widower, let them know about that. I'll see you next time at Lesson 4.